Remember what Christmas looked like through the lens of a camcorder and the neon glow of the shopping mall. It was a time when technology began to merge with tradition, yet the world still felt tactile and intimately connected. Times change, and many traditions from the vibrant 80s and the transitionary 90s have vanished from our daily lives, lingering only in static-filled memories. Discover 10 Christmas traditions that made the holidays back then so unique, and revisit the forgotten moments from an era defined by analog warmth and anticipation. The Toys R Us Big Book. Do you remember the sheer physical weight of excitement that arrived in your mailbox every November? In the 80s and 90s, the Toys R Us Big Book was not merely a catalog, it was the definitive Bible of childhood desire. Children would spend weeks poring over its glossy pages, carefully studying the layouts of action figures, video games, and dollhouses. It became a ritual to take a marker and circle the items you desperately wanted, dog-earing the pages, so your parents could not possibly miss them. There was a specific smell to the ink and paper that signaled the start of the holiday season. It was a tangible map to your dreams, a physical object that held all the potential of Christmas morning. Today, digital wish lists and online carts have replaced this experience, offering convenience but losing the tactile magic of holding your wishes in your hands. The Christmas Eve trip to the video store. Do you recall the frantic yet festive rush to the video rental store on Christmas Eve? Before streaming services placed every movie at our fingertips, families would bundle up and drive to the local Blockbuster or video shop with a singular mission. The goal was to secure a copy of a holiday classic like Home Alone or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation before they were all rented out. Walking down the carpeted aisles, surrounded by the smell of popcorn and the plastic clatter of VHS tapes, was a social event in itself. You would often bump into neighbors and friends, all hunting for entertainment for the long night ahead. The disappointment of seeing an empty box on the shelf was real, but the victory of finding the last copy was exhilarating. That shared community experience of selecting a movie together has quietly faded away in the age of instant on-demand content. Shoulder-mounted camcorders. Remember when documenting Christmas morning required the strength of a news cameraman and the lighting of a film set? In the 80s and 90s, fathers everywhere transformed into directors, hoisting massive camcorders onto their shoulders to capture the family history. These devices were heavy, bulky, and often required a blinding spotlight that washed out everyone's faces as they opened gifts. The hum of the zoom lens and the click of the cassette tape loading were the soundtrack of the morning. You had to physically connect the camera to the television with colorful cables to watch the shaky, raw footage later that day. It was imperfect and cumbersome, but it felt like a labor of love. Now, we silently record perfectly stabilized 4K videos on our phones, but we have lost the clumsy, charming effort that made those old home movies feel so significant and earned. The mall is the holiday hub. Do you remember when the shopping mall was the absolute beating heart of the holiday season? In the decades before online shopping, the mall was an immersive sensory experience that defined teenage life and family outings. The decorations were colossal, with fountains dyed red and green and animatronic displays that towered over the crowds. It was a place of electric energy where the air smelled of cinnamon pretzels, food court pizza, and department store perfume. Meeting friends by the giant tree to shop for CDs or earrings was a rite of passage, and the noise of the crowd was a sign that Christmas was coming. It was chaotic, loud, and often stressful, but it was a shared physical reality. Online shopping has undeniably made life easier, but it killed the vibrant, communal buzz of the crowded holiday mall that once united us all, the Tangled kitchen landline. Do you remember the logistical challenge of the kitchen wall phone during the holiday festivities? Before everyone had a personal smartphone in their pocket, wishing distant relatives a Merry Christmas meant waiting your turn for the family landline? You would stand in the bustling kitchen, twisting the long, curly cord around your finger, stretching it as far as it would go to get a moment of semi-privacy. You had to shout slightly to be heard over the noise of the party while your aunts and uncles watched from the dining table. There was no texting under the table or stepping outside for a quiet call. You were tethered to the house and to the moment. Today, a text message is faster and more efficient, but it lacks the warmth and chaotic intimacy of hearing a loved one's voice crackle over that tangled wire while the whole family listened in, recording songs from the radio. Remember the patience and precision required to capture your favorite holiday tunes on a cassette tape? In the era before Spotify and iTunes, making a Christmas playlist was a craft that demanded dedication. You had to sit by the boombox with a blank tape waiting for the DJ to announce the next song. The moment you heard the opening notes of Last Christmas or All I Want for Christmas Is You, you had to hit the record button, instantly hoping the host wouldn't talk over the intro. These homemade mixtapes were laboriously created, often with handwritten track lists and decorated cases, making them deeply personal gifts. We now have access to every song ever recorded in seconds, but we have lost the thrill of the hunt and the satisfaction of capturing the music ourselves, one button press at a time. The fight for the It Toy. Do you remember the adrenaline and mild panic of the hunt for the must-have toy of the year? Whether it was Cabbage Patch Kids in the 80s or Tickle Me Elmo and Furbies in the 90s, parents would literally race through store doors to secure the hot item. There were no internet bots or pre-orders, just pure determination and physical presence. News stations would broadcast footage of the chaos, showing lines wrapping around the block in the freezing cold. Finding that specific toy hidden behind a shelf, or grabbing the last one from a pallet, felt like winning a gold medal. It was a high-stakes mission fueled by love. While one-click ordering is safer and calmer, it has removed the legendary stories of victory and the miraculous feeling of seeing that impossible gift sitting under the tree on Christmas morning. Plastic blow mold decorations. Remember the soft, warm glow of hard plastic Santas and snowmen standing guard on the front lawn? These hollow light-up figures, known as blow molds, were the undisputed kings of outdoor decor in the 80s and 90s. Every suburban street had an army of plastic choir boys' candles and reindeer illuminated by a single incandescent bulb inside. They were simple, durable, and charmingly tacky, often with paint that faded slightly over the years. They didn't deflate when the power went out like modern inflatables, nor did they rely on complex laser projections. They simply stood there, humming quietly in the snow. While modern decorations are bigger and flashier, they lack the nostalgic, simple presence of those plastic figures that lined the driveways of our youth, signaling a warm welcome to anyone who passed by. Consulting the TV guide. Do you remember the ritual of checking the paper TV guide to plan your holiday viewing schedule? In a time before on-demand streaming, you couldn't just watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or A Charlie Brown Christmas whenever you pleased. You had to be in front of the television at 8 p.m. sharp, or you missed it for the entire year. Families would plan their evenings around these broadcasts, gathering together on the couch with snacks the moment the opening credits rolled. Commercial breaks were the only opportunity to run to the bathroom or grab a drink without missing a scene. This appointment viewing created a shared national moment where millions of people experienced the magic simultaneously. Streaming has given us convenience, but it has fractured the collective wonder of watching a holiday special together as a country. Handwritten letters to Santa. Remember the serious business of sitting down with a pen and paper to draft a letter to the North Pole? In the 80s and 90s, before children could email Santa or use an app to track his sleigh, the handwritten letter was the only line of communication. You would carefully write out your list in your best handwriting, perhaps gluing on pictures cut from a catalog, and seal it in an envelope. Walking into the mailbox and raising the little red flag was a moment of pure faith. You didn't get an instant auto reply or a digital confirmation code. You simply had to believe it would arrive. The physical act of writing and mailing the letter made the magic feel grounded and real. Today, digital interactions are faster, but the slow, beautiful anticipation of sending a physical letter into the world is a wonder that is slowly fading away. What holiday traditions from the 80s and 90s do you miss the most? Each of these cherished moments reminds us of a time that was slightly louder, brighter, and more analog, but filled with a magic all its own. Which one would you bring back to relive that magic today?